Welcome back to another episode of Play by Play presented by Win or Lose Sports, sponsored by Project 360 Studios. That's p360studios.com and A-List Tax Services, alисttaxes.com. So we're going to get right into this episode. The NFL playoffs has started. Divisional round wild card round is over with. Divisional round just ended last Saturday and Sunday. And we're going to talk about the Cowboys, obviously, and how disappointing the end of the season has been. Because to be honest, it wasn't a bad season overall. It's just the fact that the Cowboys did not finish the job that they were set out to do. That all the Cowboys fans believed that should happen, that the Cowboys would at least make it to the NFC Championship, and they didn't do too well against the Green Bay Packers, which was surprising to many and not surprising to some. And I say not surprising because of the history of the Cowboys' performance in the playoffs over the last 28 years. So obviously they haven't made it to a Super Bowl since 1995, and they haven't made it to a conference championship since then either. And the reason for this disappointment is because of a lot of people are going to blame the players, Dak Prescott, and the defense on the field. But I would place blame on coaching, because coaching is where it starts as far as the culture of how the team performs during the game, during crucial moments in key games, during playoff games, during playoff series, and when you talk about basketball. And to not have this team ready to play against a team that we should have dominated, that the Cowboys should have dominated in the wild card game in the Green Bay Packers, is surprisingly and upsetting at the same time. Surprising and upsetting at the same time. It's like they were not prepared at all to face a team that it should have been a cakewalk. When you look at the synergy between, or the lack thereof, between Dak and CeeDee Lamb, no clue what that was about, and still don't know. Time management, of course, comes into play when it comes to Mike McCarthy, but that wasn't what happened here. What happened here was he did not call a good offensive game at all. Very disappointing. Dak, of course, threw 2 interceptions. You can't place blame on that for Dak. Blame Dak for that. The defense on the other side was mediocre at best. Could not stop the run, of course. And you got to blame Dan Quinn. Everyone's saying Dan Quinn is up for head coaching jobs, and you can't win Super Bowls, obviously, when you think about the 28-point lead that they had at halftime and lost when he coached the Falcons. You can't give that up. So he cannot stop the run against the Green Bay Packers. Not that they're one of the best running teams, but yeah, they're great. They're a great running team when you're talking about Aaron Jones and the other guys behind him. So when you can't stop the run, you're getting beat on pass defense, because all of a sudden now you want to play zone when you've been playing man to man all year. So you want to play zone against the Packers, and they just dice the zone up like a tomato in a salad. So very disappointing. You can't stop the run because you have DBs, 6 DBs, and only one or two linebackers. DBs are not going to tackle. They're not going to stop the run. They're not going to get down and dirty. You need more muscle in the middle to stop the run. The Cowboys didn't have that. They didn't do that. They didn't make the adjustments at halftime, even though they tried to make the game look like it was close. But no, it was still a blowout. I'm sorry. Very disappointing loss for the Cowboys in that game. And then for Jerry Jones to say, oh, no, we're keeping Mike McCarthy. He's got 1 year left on his contract. We're going to keep him. We're not going to make any changes. He's our guy moving forward. We believe that the way he's leading this team, it can be led to a Super Bowl or a championship with the roster that we have. Yeah, with the roster that we have, I wouldn't even say that anymore. Because if he can't perform in the playoffs, go deep in the playoffs, you shouldn't be that guy. I'm sorry. I praised Dak all year. How his MVP status was up and how great he was performing, but he went back to the old ways of Dak Prescott. Of course, in the playoffs, it's something about these heavy moments that he cannot live up to, and it's because he's not prepared mentally to do that. He didn't have coaching over the last. Since he came into the league with Jason Garrett, now with Mike McCarthy, he doesn't have the coaching to coach him into those moments. And that's what it's all about. That's why Lamar Jackson is so good, because he has a coach that coaches him into those moments. That's why Patrick Mahomes is so good, because he has a coach like Andy Reid and a quarterback coach that coaches him up to those moments. That's why Tom Brady was so good. Tom Brady wasn't great in college. He wasn't great when he got to the NFL. But because he had a coach that coached him into that moment, that made him great. And he took that after he left, of course, after doing it for so long, and went to Tampa Bay and still won the Super Bowl because he was used to those moments. But if you're not coached into those moments, there's no way you're going to just go out there and perform like you're a great quarterback. No. The reason why Brock Purdy is so good right now is because he has Shanahan coaching him into those moments. He's ready mentally because Shanahan is making sure that he's ready mentally. It's not just having a conversation about, oh, yeah, you got it, Dak. You got it. You're the guy for. No. Coach him into, show him how he can be that guy in that moment and win those games. Mike McCarthy is not that guy. Wasn't that guy in Green Bay? Yeah, they won the Super Bowl, won. But he's not that guy. I'm sorry. I think he needs to go. I think they need to go a totally different route when it comes to managing that team. And that starts with ownership. Jerry Jones, you have to find another way for this team to be managed because you can't do it. Well, you had Jimmy Johnson managing and coaching. That was the key because Jimmy Johnson knew what he was doing when it comes to managing the team. And, of course, coaching the team. When that went away, the whole luster of the Cowboys' glory went away with that. So you can't fault the team totally. You can't even fault the coach totally because the ownership is making these decisions based on who they can think they can control when it comes to running the Cowboys organization. That's why when people were saying, oh, Bill Belichick would be perfect for the Cowboys job. No, he wouldn't. Even though I would love for that to happen. I would love for Bill Belichick to be a Cowboys coach. There's no way that Jerry Jones, as much control as he has to have for that team, would allow Bill Belichick to come in and run the team the way Bill Belichick runs the football team, the way he ran the Patriots organization for 26 years. There's no way that will work. There will be fights in the office every day between Jerry and Bill. So hopefully they'll figure out after the Mike McCarthy contract is up, get a coach and a GM in there or one in the same to run the organization the way it should be ran, because there's no way that the Cowboys will ever win the Super Bowl or go deep in the playoffs with Jerry Jones running the organization the way it's been ran over the last 30 years. Sad to say, but it's true. So we're going to move on to the conference championships. And you got the Ravens hosting the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, and the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Lions in the NFC Championship. Surprising Lions, who lost a controversial game in Dallas That was the last game that they lost in Dallas. And they've been riding the wave ever since, and I don't blame them. The coach has got this team ready. Jared Goff has been playing great. I mean, even though he's going to look like Jared Goff making little mistakes, but the thing about the Lions is they have a coach that created a culture for them to feel like that it's possible for them to do anything in this playoff run. And they look good doing it. So I'm not a Lions fan. Of course, I'm not a 49ers fan, but I don't know who I will pick in this game. And that's giving credit to how good the Lions are. Because San Francisco, who's been the favorite basically all year especially after Philadelphia fell off the map, the Lions look just as good as the 49ers. The weapons that they have out the backfield, Montgomery with Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, at receiver, and Jared Goff has been looking just as good as Brock Purdy. Now, Brock Purdy does have more weapons on offense, I think, than Jared Goff has. So when you talk about Debo, who I don't know if he's playing this game because he left the game last week with the injury. Of course, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and the other receivers. San Francisco never looked bad, but only with 3 games this year. And the Lions kind of build their way up to how good they are playing now. So the momentum is not going either way. Both teams are still on the same ride. I think it will come down to how good the defense performs against the other's offense. So I think with 49ers, of course, they're going to look like the 49ers on offense. They're going to run the ball with McCaffrey. They're going to throw the ball downfield. The Lions are going to do the same thing. They're going to run the ball with Montgomery and the other backs, and they're going to throw the ball downfield because Jared Goff does have one of the best arms in the NFL. So it's going to come down to who can stop the other team. I think this would be not a high-scoring game, but not a low-scoring game either. So it'll be in the middle of the road as far as scoring. Who would I pick in this game? I don't know. I would say the favorite for me to pick would be the Lions because I'm to be honest, I'm sick of San Francisco being successful. And I want the Lions to do something. Let's have something different this year in the NFL. And I think the Lions can do that. And I think that will make a better looking Super Bowl when you got the Lions, who hasn't won a Super Bowl since 1957 or a championship since 1957, would look great going to the Super Bowl this year. That's just what my heart wants. On the other side, you got the Chiefs going into Baltimore. And Baltimore, who's been the favorite all year. Now, what's crazy about these two teams is at the beginning of the year, the Ravens had the same troubles that the Chiefs had with their receivers. That's dropping passes, especially the Ravens dropping passes in the end zone. Of course, Lamar Jackson still looked good as far as him his playing ability, but he didn't have the receivers on the same page. So now, when that was fixed early on in the season, they looked unstoppable. They did get beat twice by the Browns and once by the Steelers, but or either way, I think twice by the Steelers and once by the Browns. But the Chiefs, on the other hand, has been looking troubled all year. That's with the receivers dropping passes, with Mahomes not looking like the Mahomes of old, Travis Kelce not looking like Travis Kelce. You got Taylor Swift involved in the fandom of Taylor Swift, with the fandom of the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce. So it's a lot going on as far as media-wise with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that plays a big part in how the team performs. When you talk about distractions, when you talk about not being ready mentally on the field, that comes with it. So I think the coaching, Andy Reid, because when you talk about the Chiefs, you got a lot going on. Andy Reid, who's also in commercials, NFL commercials, and in State Farm commercials. Same with Mahomes, Kelsey with Taylor Swift, with the podcast with Jason. So there's a lot going on mentally when you're trying to work that all together and control all that environment within the football team and within the game. And you look on the other side with the Ravens, there's none of that. Only thing in the media previous to the year was the contract talks about Lamar Jackson, and was he going to return to Baltimore? Was he going to play with Baltimore? Was he going to get traded? Was another team going to try to pick him up on a free agency? And then in the middle of the season, of course, with John Harbaugh and his brother Jim with the suspension and all that stuff. But I don't think that was a distraction, because once they got to football, they just played football. And I think that's what's going to play a part in how the Ravens perform in this game and how they're going to beat the Chiefs. I'm picking the Ravens over the Chiefs in this game just because they looked and still look like the best team in the NFL, especially the way they played against San Francisco. When they played them in San Francisco, they looked like the team that could not be stopped. So I would not pick against the Ravens. I still think that Patrick Mahomes can pull a rabbit out of his hat because that's the player that he is. So if you're going to pick a team, my heart would say the Ravens, but you never know what's going to happen with Pat Mahomes and that team. On the other hand, on the other side with San Francisco and Detroit, I would pick the Lions, my heart, but you never know what San Francisco could do. So it looks, I would say it's looking like the Lions versus the Ravens in the Super Bowl. I think that'll be a great Super Bowl to watch. As far as the hard-nosed play of both teams, the Lions, I think they deserve it the way they've been playing all year. And it's going to make a good entertainment, good football. So, next episode, I think we're going to go because, next episode will be probably after the Super Bowl. So I'm going to dive more into the NBA, going to get right into the NBA, have more guests on the show. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we'll see you next time on Play by Play.